Hi everybody, Kirsty, Goddess of Neptune here. Hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. Just bringing you an astrology overview for the Mercury transit into Taurus. So for us in the UK here on GMT or British Standard Time, it's happening 3rd of April 2023 at 17:23. Apply it to your own time zones as appropriate, of course. And with Mercury, when we think about expression and communication, it can also represent our thoughts as well. But moving into the sign of Taurus, of course, having been in Aries, really supporting that empowerment of self when it comes to our expression of self, knowing what we want within and expressing what we want. Now, Mercury is moving into the sign of Taurus, which relates to our worth and values. So are our expressions or communications with ourselves, with others, in line with our worth and values? That's a question to pose whilst I pull up the chart. So have a think about that one. So I'm just going to pull this one up now, just so we can have a look at what's going on. So as I mentioned, 17:23, 3rd of April for us here in the UK. That is when we have 0 degrees of Mercury having moved into Taurus. Now, of course, a lot of energy in Taurus, a lot of energy in Aries still as well. But with Mercury moving into Taurus, we are now more Taurus heavy, if you like. And as I was mentioning, it relates to our worth and values. So we know we've got the North Node in Taurus as well. What we're here for, you know, our purpose, what is our truth in relation to that? And we have Juno, Uranus, and also Venus. So there is that heavy supporting feminine energy going on surrounding change as well when it comes to our worth and values. So with Mercury now moving in, this is a time to really get in line with our communication, either to ourselves or to others, when it comes to our worth and values. So if we've learned the period of time when Mercury was in Pisces, truly getting in touch with our intuition, communicating Mercury energy with source energy within via our intuition, Pisces, that spiritual connection and communication, and understanding what the soul is telling us to guide us forward. Then Mercury moving into Aries, that empowerment of that coming forward so we can express what we want because we know what is true within us at the soul level. Empowerment of that Aries warrior energy as well. Of course, we're in Aries season, so it really enhanced that power of expression when it comes to that warrior self within and what we want. Admittedly, we've got all this transformation energy and change energy. So that's where we've really had to find that inner strength to be able to express what we want. Now, Mercury in Taurus. Is all of this in line with our worth and values? Are we still communicating with ourselves in line with our worth and values? Or are we still telling ourselves some illusionary story that we're not worthy of what we're truly worthy of? So that's just something to consider. Now, the other thing I noticed as well is there is a square to Pluto. So that transformation energy that's going on, that's why there can be that challenge when it comes to, right, we really want to transform. But yes, we've got to find that strength within to know our worth, to know our value in order to express that accordingly. And it can be just that heavy energy at the moment with the transformation. But there is, from what I could see, a sextile with Neptune. Of course, Neptune is in Pisces, home sign, and there's a light and shadow side to Neptune, just like any other planet. However, this to me made me feel intuitively that it's still allowing Mercury in that sextile aspect with Neptune to maintain that connection via communication with source energy, because it's a positive aspect. So even though there's some challenges around the transformative elements and really needing to feel that empowerment of the Aries energy, moving forward into that Taurus energy of, yes, I know my worth, I know my value, I am going to now express this. And anything that's not in alignment with that needs to be transformed or released because of the Pluto energy. But again, it can be quite hard, you know, because of the square there and just the heavy energy anyway. But that sextile with Neptune supporting that connection with the divine, with spirit, with source energy, to enable us to still have that connection and communication with our intuition. So that's where we can utilize that energy to work for us. The other thing I noticed is the moon. At the time of this happening, of course, remember 17:23 GMT or British Standard Time on the 3rd of April, the moon is in Virgo, and the moon is trine to Venus, Uranus, and Juno, of course, in Taurus. So there is that, again, positive aspect when it comes to our emotions around change. And I feel that that's because of the feminine energy that's there supporting Uranus. Not only visually do we have one either side, just because of how the alignment is, but it is supporting that. So the feminine energy for a while has been supporting this journey of transformation with all the heavy energy, the heavy masculine energy going on, and where there needs to be change regarding our worth and values, and certainly now this empowerment of self to express what we need to in line with our worth and values. The moon is supporting our emotions, and when the moon is in Virgo, there can be that self-criticism within that, and maybe being a bit too critical of ourselves. But there's a positive aspect here. So utilizing the feminine energy to support those emotions, to ground those emotions in, because Virgo, of course, earth sign, Taurus, earth sign as well, and just recognizing that that can work for us in that way. We know that Lilith is there in Leo, challenging those aspects of being seen as our true self. And I covered this in my astrology overview yesterday, so you'll be able to check that out on my channel if it resonates for you. So there are possibilities of self-doubt coming up whilst we're going through all of this, because we're trying to get in alignment with our worth and values in accordance with our divine authenticity. And to do that, we've needed to go through change, and still going through it, we need to transform. So of course, Lilith is going to bring things up for us to just recognize, do we still need to heal this aspect? And how are we going to move forward? So again, we can use it for us, not against us. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up the UK chart. So I usually do this just to give a bit of context to the planetary aspects going on. So here you will see on this chart, and again, take it as it resonates. This is based on the UK's natal charts. So it could resonate for the collective in the UK. The collective is vast though, so it may not. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And of course, check out your own chart. See where Mercury is in your natal chart, and also see where Mercury is transiting through Taurus in your chart against those aspects. Might give you some idea of, you know, what you're needing to feel empowered via your expression with. So we see at the top of the chart here that Mercury enters Taurus within the 10th house of the UK. So that relates to work and also social status, as well as inner authority. And there's quite a lot of energy there within the 10th house, has been for some time, because that's where the majority of the Aries energy has been as well. But what I notice here is Mercury will be conjunct the UK's Chiron. So those elements of healing when it comes to our inner authority, finding that inner authority within our social status and how we want to be seen in that way, perhaps in a work situation, doesn't have to be, could just be about our authority. There's empowerment in that, of course, as well. But Mercury there, conjunct Chiron, could just be reminding us that if there's any wounds associated with our inner authority, that they need to be addressed, and they need to be brought up in line with our worth and values through that empowerment, through that nurturing energy that Taurus is bringing at the moment, with the feminine energy that's there as well, even though Venus is actually in the 11th house, but still in the sign of Taurus. So Mercury is there, and we know, as I mentioned before, there is that sextile to Neptune, and Neptune is actually here in the 9th house. So this is all about beliefs, and could be religion as well. But when you think of, you know, beliefs, our beliefs have maybe had to transform as we're transforming. And perhaps it's recognition that our beliefs have changed that has prompted us to then transform, because we need to ensure that we're operating in that divine alignment with our own authenticity, with our true soul essence. So maintaining that connection to our intuition is very important, because that is our guiding light. That's our inner compass guiding us forward. And it's been a lot, it's been heavy, trying to empower ourselves, really focusing on the self. And that can be difficult for many people, especially those who are empathic, because it's easier to focus on other people rather than focus on ourselves. But this healing journey has taught us that we've needed to do that. We've had to do that for our own highest good. And a lot has been coming to the surface regarding connections. And we know certainly with this particular chart, we have Uranus transiting through the 11th house for the UK. And that is change regarding connections. Interestingly, Venus is conjunct only 3 degrees away from the natal chart Venus. So there is that, again, that strong feminine energy supporting the need for change when it comes to connections with other people. And we know Pluto is transiting through the 7th house for the UK. So that's transformation in relationships. And I've covered this previously as well. But this is what we're having to look at. So a lot of karmic relationships have been coming up to be seen for what they are. And recognition of those karmic relationships in order to gain the clarity from them. What was the purpose of that karmic relationship? It was to teach me this. Thank you, because that's one of the lessons that Saturn has also highlighted to me recently. So now I know that I've accepted that, I've acknowledged it, and recognized that I need to do this bit of healing to get through it, or I'm now ready to release this and transmute it, whatever it might be, if it applies at all for you. So there is still that need for change when it comes to our connections with other people and our relationships. Lilith, of course, being opposite Pluto, we know there is that sort of push-pull energy, because we know we need to transform. Pluto is calling for that deep transformation, and we are transforming. We are going through this healing journey, and it's hard, and we're doing it, and we're getting through it. We're keeping going because we're sovereign souls, and we know it's for our highest good. But Lilith just reminds us every now and then, are you sure you're worthy of that? Are you sure you're worthy of this great transformative change? And as I said in my last video, the answer to that is yes, Lilith, I am ready to evolve and change because I need to transform. But thank you for showing me the areas where I may still need to work on myself. And if this is to do with true expression of self, you know, being myself fully with that Leo energy, because Lilith is currently in Leo, then okay, I need to work on that. Thank you so much. And now that Mercury has moved into Taurus, making sure our expressions and our communication is aligned with our worth and values. We need to feel worthy of love, joy, and abundance. All those great things that we are worthy of, we need to recognize we're worthy of them in order to feel empowered to express that to ourselves and others. So by telling ourselves, you know, I'm truly believing that we are worthy of great things, we can then become more comfortable with being seen as our true authentic self, and therefore learning this lesson that Lilith is also teaching us. So that's powerful as well. And I mentioned the moon before and the positive aspects with Venus, Uranus, and Juno. So here we have the moon transiting through the 3rd house, which is the house of communication. So again, we know that Mercury in Taurus, Mercury relates to communication. The 3rd house is Gemini ruled, but here in this chart, it's showing us the Virgo energy. So are we going to be a bit critical of ourselves when it comes to our communication, even though we know we need to communicate from that place of feeling worthy? So there could be some self-love that we need to show ourselves with that feminine energy because of the positive aspects to, you know, Venus, as I was saying, and also Juno. Positive feminine energy to nurture us, to show ourselves that self-love, to recognize that we can be comfortable in our emotions with who we are and what we are worthy of in order to express that. So knowing that we feel good enough within ourselves to know inherently within that we are worthy of great things, and we are worthy of what we're going to transform into through this beautiful process of transformation that could feel challenging right now. It's all for our highest good, of course. This is all happening for us. The energy is there to support us, but it's pushing us into where we need to be. So it can feel uncomfortable because it's that kind of step out of a comfort zone, isn't it? So if for example, we've not felt worthy before for a number of reasons, and we're having to heal all of that, these are just reminders within the energy that now Mercury has moved into Taurus. We need to really start communicating with ourselves better when it comes to our worth and values. So in line with our values, we need to ensure that we are in line with our values, and we can do that by our communications with others. And certainly when it comes to our worth, knowing our worth, telling ourselves what we are worthy of, and also letting other people know what we are worthy of. And boundaries is a big part of this as well. So the moon is there to support the energy, and we need to just avoid being self-critical, because that's where it falls into more of that Lilith energy when it comes to not really wanting to be that full expression of self. But we need to be that full expression of self because we are worthy of great things. And when we can be our full expression of self in that way, and we are communicating and expressing that we are worthy of those things, then that's going to be like a magnet, and we can have that reflected back to us in our external reality. But showing ourselves that love with that Venus energy is very important, certainly when it comes to connections with other people. So are the people that you surround yourself with in alignment with your worth and values? And it's natural, if you've been going through this healing journey for a while, you've evolved, you've ascended, that you might be finding that some connections are no longer in alignment, and that's okay, because they would have served a purpose for the time they were meant to serve a purpose for. Detaching can be hard, of course, but this is recognition of, do we want to just stay in the same place in a connection relationship that's not balanced, that's not fair, that's not just, there's no equal give and take, there's no reciprocity? Or do we need to start communicating with ourselves, we're worthy of more than this, putting up the boundaries and actually saying, no, I need to actually focus on this area. And if this person is no longer in alignment with my values and my worth, then that's a connection I need to detach from. And it sounds really harsh. I've had to go through this myself, so I can resonate with this. And we find other people, of course, in our lives, because we're meant to meet people when we're meant to meet them. They come into our life for a reason. And certainly karmic relationships are there to teach us a great lesson. So there's always some purpose to our connections with other people. This is recognition that we can't keep going on in connections that are not serving us, because what's it doing to us? Think about this. If you're in a connection with someone, a relationship with somebody, and you're giving a lot of energy to it, and you're not getting that back, how's that really making you feel? Is it fair? Is it just? Think of it if it's a job. So you're putting so much energy into this job and you're not getting the return. You're not getting that reciprocal energy back. Do you keep giving and giving and giving and the other person take? Or do you make a change with Uranus there and Pluto? Do you make a change to either give less so it's more balanced? Because if you give less, maybe that is going to be the reciprocal energy of what you're receiving. But how does that sit with you? Because you might be somebody that gives a lot because you have a big heart, you want to share, you want to do this. So it's recognizing adjustment is needed. Do you adjust so that it's balanced, or do you walk away from a situation because it's not fair, it's not balanced? It's just recognizing what is the right thing within our connections. And certainly when it comes to our inner authority, we have Aries energy there for this particular chart, and we have the Taurus energy there when it comes to the expression side and the North Node. So why are we here? We've got a, we've got a job to do here. We're not just here to play games. We're learning all the time on this journey of life in Earth School, in this 3D reality. And we've got a lot of Aries energy supporting us to really feel empowered as our true authentic self, as we step forward into the unknown, as we step forward into, what's going to come for us in the near future. It's being able to surrender to that, to surrender to the unknown, but at the same time, when you're in the present moment, feeling empowered enough to be your true authentic self, to express who you are, to communicate to yourself and others your worth and your values, to put boundaries up where you need to, and to ensure that your emotions are there, comfortable, because you're navigating this journey through in divine alignment with your soul's essence, with your soul's integrity. So I'm going to take the chart down now. That was just a little bit from me to you, but I feel that it's powerful energy. I mean, I felt it was particularly strong when Mercury was in Pisces, because it was just that enhancement of the communication to source energy within us, which is very powerful. And we've always got that because we can always communicate with our intuition, but particularly in Pisces season, and when Mercury's in Pisces, wow, amazing energy to connect with source, and then moving on to Aries, recognizing we can be empowered, we can truly be our authentic self, but all of this other stuff is coming up just to kind of throw questions in there, to test us in a way, to make sure we are still moving forward in the direction that we need to move forward in, by posing such questions of, do we feel worthy enough to carry on here? Or is there still a bit of healing that we need to do? And we need to communicate honestly with ourselves about that, certainly when it comes to our worth and values, because Mercury now being in Taurus at this moment, 1723 for GMT on the 3rd of April. So I'm just going to take some cards from the Astro deck. And I did this yesterday. I think it just sort of rounds off the message of the reading. Apologies, I've not been able to get my phone holder balanced today. The phone wanted to just fall out, so apologies if it's a bit wonky. The message is more important than how the picture looks there, isn't it? So let's see. Okay. Oh, wow. Straight away, we've got Aries energy. So that's a reminder of what I was saying about the self and being that powerful self. You can truly embody that expression of who you are. And at the time of recording this, Mercury is still in Aries, but purpose of the video was for the transit of Mercury moving into Taurus. It's not to forget that we've got that Aries energy going on at the moment, and is still supporting us because the sun is still in Aries. So that real kind of, warrior within, soul essence, we can get that strength from that in order to express ourselves and communicate with ourselves and others in accordance with our worth and values. So the Aries energy is still helping us, for sure. Okay, let's see what else we have, please, for the collective. Thank you. Mercury in Taurus. What do we have? Thank you. That one jumped. Oh, interesting. Okay. Cancer. So, yeah. And that's the moon's home, of course. So that just came into me. So with the moon, as I was saying, with the supporting feminine energy, because of the trine, there is that feminine nurturing. So that's what's coming through to me. And the word on this card says immerse. So immersing ourselves in our emotions to feel comfortable in knowing who we are and what we're worthy of. But feminine energy for sure. Feminine energy is helping this process. You know, ask yourself, do I know what I'm worthy of? Okay. Oh, very interesting. We have Capricorn. So we've actually got two opposites here, haven't we? Because Cancer is the opposite sign to Capricorn. Very interesting. And Cancer is that sort of water energy, that flowing energy, that nurturing energy. And Capricorn is that more harsher sort of masculine energy, but is very much about, you know, getting things done, regimented, business focused, in that way, structured. So, you know, think of Saturn in that way. So when you think of Saturn and the moon, then the moon has got a work cut out to try and soften Saturn. But there could be some element here of, you know, opposite energy needing to truly come together within us, that balance within. So utilizing the feminine energy to allow us to balance so that we are taking action in terms of what we want to get done and where there's a structure to something, but also allowing us to flow with this. And on the bottom, we have second house in reverse, which is very interesting because the second house is Taurus's house. And this is all about Mercury moving into Taurus. Now we know Mercury will be moving into a different house depending on what your chart is. So take a look at that. But in terms of the second house ruler, that's Taurus. Now this is in reverse. So it's definitely needing to get that awareness of what our worth and values stand for in accordance with our truth within, not what other people think we're worthy of. No, this is about what we know we are worthy of and what our values are. So there is some element of not knowing that because it's in reverse, and underneath that, ninth house in reverse. So yeah, maybe there is some learning that's needed in relation to our worth and values, and that could be where the Mercury energy is going to come in, because Mercury is also about the thoughts as well. But I certainly see, you know, these transits moving into the different signs, you know, Mercury into different signs is that communication and expression. But when it comes to learning, you might need to learn something about what you're feeling worthy of or what your values are. Because think of it like this. We only know what our values are about things because we've gone through experiences. Why do we value this? Why do we value that? Well, there's obviously a reason. So reflect on that, because that information will all be within the soul. And there we have the first house. So that's Aries house. So that's the house of the self. So yeah, house of worth and values, house of learning and beliefs, and also the house of the self. So needing to really get in line with those aspects. Okay, and I'm going to just take card or two, however many come out from the Light Seers Tarot. But interestingly, on the bottom straight away, death and rebirth in reverse, Pluto energy, deep transformation, that's portal energy, but it's in reverse, fears around transformation. So this is what's going on at the moment with this heavy energy of transformation and change. It's difficult for some within the collective to detach, and certainly certain elements that we know we need to release, that can be quite hard because it's kind of letting go of a comfort blanket that isn't really a comfort blanket for us anymore. Could relate to a person. See that? We've got the death and rebirth again, and the lovers. Lovers, major arcana, can also represent a choice, but it could be a person. So there is something that needs to be released here and transformed. And we know certainly on the UK's natal chart, change is being called for in connections with others, and Pluto is in the house of relationships. Okay, let's see what else we have. Oh, yeah, that's confirmed that for me. Thank you. And I'm feeling one more. One more, thank you. Mercury in Taurus. Okay. All in reverse. So we have the Ten of Swords, Seven of Pentacles, and the Five of Swords in reverse. So again, heavy on swords energy, and this happened yesterday in my collective reading. So quite a lot of overthinking going on at the moment, potentially because of all this transformation, and lots coming up to the surface to be acknowledged. You know, that can be a lot, especially if there's a lot coming up to be released. But remember why it's all coming up. It's for our highest good. So Ten of Swords, yes, something needs to end. And we see it depicted more beautifully in this deck because the swords are represented by birds. So it's not like the person lying on the floor with all the swords in their back. This is more about letting go of something and walking away towards the light. And with the birds, that's quite symbolic of freedom. So there is that need to end a cycle and to walk more towards something that's going to be liberating for you in terms of your true self. Because with Seven of Pentacles, with this one, there can be an element of patience because this is about planting seeds, allowing them to grow, divine timing. And there could be some impatience for a situation because it's in reverse. But also there is a need to plant the seeds in terms of what you want to grow, what you want to manifest in your life. And in order to do that, you need to walk away from what's not serving you. Because by doing that, that's showing the universe that you're ready to accept the new, what the divine wants to offer you, what the divine wants to bring into your life. If something needs to end, that means something is waiting to begin. But at the moment, too much overthinking. So need to come out of that overthinking, that stress. This is that inner conflict of perhaps not being able to decide, not really being able to know what to do. So we'll see. Let's just see if there's another one. What's the advice, please? What's the advice, please, for the collective? What's the advice? Thank you. Oh, wow. King of Swords, another swords card, but again, sovereign card. Yesterday, the Queen of Swords came out. So that was all about truth, and she came out in the upright position. Here we have the King of Swords. So the King of Swords uses wisdom, intellect, and guess what else? Communication. To get to the truth. To get to the truth. So if you're struggling with overthinking, you need to uphold your sovereignty to recognize the truth of a situation. Use that wisdom that is within. This is a sovereign soul who sits there comfortably knowing what's up, knowing the score, basically. So, but in reverse, you know, there's a need to actually move into that sovereignty. Still feel there's another one. Sorry. Got to keep going if I'm guided to keep going. Okay, what else do we have? So we know they've got to step into sovereignty. We've got to step into sovereignty. Okay, what else do we have, please? What else do we have? Thank you. That one showed herself to me twice. So Six of Swords in reverse, another reversal, another swords card. There is no movement forward at the moment because of this. And perhaps a feeling of, where is my Ten of Pentacles? Where is that grounded feeling of stability? Where is that love? Where is that abundance? Where is that feeling of joy and, you know, just that kind of quintessential dream of spiritual, material, emotional fulfillment? There's too many reversals here. But on the bottom, we have the Hierophant in reverse as well, Taurus energy. And underneath that, wow, again, death and rebirth. So that's Scorpio energy. Okay, think of Pluto, transformation that's needed, and alignment with self, Taurus energy, recognizing there is that journey to climb, but there's enlightenment at the top. Because we've got too many reversals here. There's no movement. currently. This is all about sailing to calmer shores. And with this one, I always say, you know, it's like the Three of Swords, because it's 6. But the Three of Swords there in the past, it's almost leaving the pain in the past and using the wisdom from those painful experiences to guide you forward. But there's kind of resistance to that, because it could be resistance to detaching. But as a result, there's no movement. Having the King of Swords here, which is air energy, there does need to be that stepping into the sovereignty in order to be able to recognize the truth of the situation that needs to be closed out, so that you can then plant your seeds in terms of what you want to manifest in your reality, which is this. But you need to recognize, I am worthy of this. I am worthy of material, spiritual, emotional fulfillment. Repeat that mantra to yourself. That's communicating using Mercury and Taurus energy of your worth and your values. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. I'm sending you love and blessings, and I will of course be doing another video relating to the full moon, because we've got that coming up on the 5th or 6th of April, depending on where you are in the world. For us in the UK, it's on the 6th in the morning. And yes, I will see you there. I'm sending you love and blessings. Take care and know your worth. All the best, everybody.